in the Twitch land and whatever everybody else is seeing us
Yeah,
out of.
wherever you're at,
All right, let me put.
listening to us
Let me.
after we've been streamed. Sorry, go ahead.
No,
You
no, I'm
continue.
just I'm just gonna put like a notification or something. I don't know. Let me do something here.
Yeah.
Uh,
What are you notifying?
just our Discord.
Notificationing. Also, did you put my Brindlewood Bay stuff on YouTube yet?
No, I have not. I am so
Because
sorry.
people are gonna be like, why do I want to come in on the middle of a session?
Yeah,
It
because
doesn't
you
make
have
any
like
sense.
4 or 5, right?
I've
You have
got
like
5 sessions and I've got sessions 3 through 5 up, and I need sessions 0 through 2.
All right, let me do twitch.tv/table talk RPG. And yay. Okay, cool. Live in
All good?
Twitch.
All good?
Jesus Christ. I wrote in Twitch instead of on Twitch. All right, whatever.
We
Okay.
are
And so it begins.
inside of Twitch,
Okay.
working our way out.
All
Okay,
right,
go ahead. I'm
everyone.
savvy.
I am Herman or Ghost, as most of you all know me. We have a special guest tonight. As you can see, Axel is not with us. He wasn't feeling very good, so he asked me if he could sit this one out, and I said yes. So every time one of us sits one out, we're actually gonna try to do an interview, get somebody, some random person. I'm just kidding. We'll get somebody to try to do an interview and try to talk to us, talk to you about what it is that we're doing. We're gonna interview them. We're gonna ask them questions. We're gonna put them on the spot because that's what we do. We have no script, no rehearsal, no nothing. We don't believe in those.
Never. Nope.
So yeah, so we have here Lumen with us. Lumen, if you could tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, if you want to, right? How did you get into tabletop
Sure.
RPG? What are you known for? And then we'll get into the actual interview of things. So,
Oh, I'm very famous.
oh, you're
Everybody
famous.
knows
Okay,
me.
sure, sure.
I'm embarrassed you
Really?
even have to ask. Like, Lumen? Everybody knows Lumen. It's like Elon Musk, Emma Watson, Lumen. Like,
Up there. Up there.
I like
yeah,
that. I like the
yeah,
confidence.
thank you guys very much for inviting me. Happy to tell you about myself and my projects. Uh, my name is Mike, or usually people call me Lumen on the internet. I grew up in Russia, but right now I'm in the UK getting my master's degree in computer science. Very excited, almost
Oh,
done with it.
Nice, nice.
It's
woohoo! No
gonna
more
be,
school.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Except
just,
Herman is now going
Ugh,
back into school.
yeah,
Rip.
yeah.
yeah,
After school, just 9 to 5 programming, but
Yes.
it's gonna be fine.
Adult.
It's gonna be good.
Yes.
Yeah, if I
nice.
get lucky, I will be living in London soon, so it will be.
Ooh,
Yeah, nice,
Well,
nice.
I
nice.
will be all a year from now. Will be all fancy and British and posh.
Yes.
Yes.
Awesome.
So, all right. About me, I have been playing role-playing games for about a couple of years at this point. I started with D&D. Well, initially, I really wanted to be a writer. I wanted to be good at screenwriting because I felt like it's really creative. I really want to like be the kind of person who can create things. And for me, it comes really, really naturally when it comes to like programming and building apps and software because it's like natural for me. But uh, in writing and screenwriting, I have realized that I have whatever is opposite of talent is. So I was finding it really, really difficult to be creative.
Okay.
And then at some point, I have discovered D&D. I was watching podcast by my favorite writer, Dan Harmon. He has a Harmon Town podcast, which is where they do very, very funny improv, and they are playing D&D, and it's really hilarious. It was delightful. It made me very happy to listen to. I really wanted to try it out. But living in Russia, it was kind of difficult to find like-minded people. But then it turned out that, oh wow, there's a thing called Discord, and you can play D&D on Discord, and we tried it out and it was really amazing. It's like whatever I was having trouble to do when it comes to writing,
Mhm.
it like whatever creativity I have in me, it feels like D&D really unlocks. So once I
Okay.
started playing, I started thinking about the worlds and the characters and like making stuff up, coming up with ideas.
Hmm.
So that was really
Lumen, we have such a similar like path. Okay. I have been a writer, haven't written a single thing in my entire life. Uh, since as long as I can remember, got my degree, got my bachelor's in English creative writing, realized that you can't really get a job outside of teaching or research with that degree, and I wanted to do neither, so now I nanny. I'm looking at going into data science or data analysis, something like that, or computer, like something with programming, because I agree that like that encompasses like that creativity. And then I got into RPGs. I'm like, this is the perfect outlet from all my creative energy that I've not been able to put into that perfect screen. I wanted to be a screenwriter as well, screenplay or novel or whatever. I just throw it all that energy into gaming, and
Yeah.
it's
It's just so hard and boring to do it alone, but when you are doing
yeah.
it with other people,
When it's collaborative, it's great.
yeah.
I just had to throw that out there because I'm like, great minds. Except
Oh.
I don't have my master's degree in computer science yet, but
Well, if you need any tips with, I was doing a bit machine learning before, so if you
okay.
need any advice, I know some good courses, some good. I'm getting good at the stuff
Cool.
recently.
Sounds
Anyway,
great.
so my saga continues. All right, I loved playing D&D at first, but then I kind of realized that I really love storytelling and improvisation and just talking to people and making friends and stuff like that. But I found really difficult time enjoying combat and all the intricate
Oh yeah.
rules. So,
Me
so for
too.
me personally, it was like, okay, so now we have this amazing scene. We are talking to each other. We telling stories. We are improvising, making jokes. And then, okay, now let's spend 40 minutes rolling the dice and subtracting numbers from numbers. And I know that many people enjoy it. For me, it personally not my thing.
Yeah.
So I kind of started thinking that it would be cool to come up with my own system that has all the stuff I like and none of the stuff that I don't like about D&D. Mostly about just purely free form, like just imagination, storytelling, stuff like that.
Okay.
And yeah, I spent a couple of months building it, just figuring out the rules that I would like, and it was really, really fun. And I even started playing it a little bit, but then I realized that like nobody is going to run this game for me. Like, it's really, really hard. People who will GM the exact kind of game that I want. So I kind of had to figure out how to become a game master, and for that I needed adventures. And writing adventures is just as hard as writing screenplays, at least for me. So like coming up with characters and improvising is easy, but writing adventures I found it's really difficult and boring. And yes, and I kind of started thinking about like the dream is to gamify the adventure writing process and make it as fun as actual role playing. So like what I really really wanted to do is like imagine like if it would be as easy to create an adventure of your own as it is
Sit
to
down and
just to
play
role
a
play.
game.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I got you. And there's some games that do that, right?
Yeah,
Ghost, Harman.
yeah. There's some games that do it. There's a Fate one. I think it's a Spark of Fate, if I'm not mistaken. There's something there is, and actually oh my God, I am blocking right now. It's the same writer that made Kingdom. Oh, Microscope.
Hollow.
There we go. Microscope.
I
Hollow.
was gonna say Microscope, but I've never actually read it nor played
Yes.
it, so I didn't want to like
So
be like, oh,
So
Microscope.
the
Yeah,
game
that's
instead
why.
of but it's not for adventures per se. It's more for the world.
Yeah,
Like you play,
world building.
and it is as you play, you are building the world that you will eventually, if you want to, you can use your RPG. The would be a D&D, Fate, PBTA, whatever suits your fancy. Whatever game you want to play, you can play it in that world. Ben Robbins, there you go. Thank you, Gaming MBS. Shout out to Gaming MBS for Sean from Gaming MBS. I'm assuming for catching our stream. Yes, Ben Robbins. That's the author of Microscope and Kingdom, which is kind of like the same thing, but a more of a microscope level, right? Of a localized microscope game, which is you building a kingdom, a place, a location, right, or a site.
Okay,
You
okay.
guys should really check out the game Follow. It's by the same author, Ben Robbins, and that's basically the main inspiration for my project. So this
Oh,
is
okay.
what made me realize that it's actually possible to improvise the story as you're playing it.
Oh,
It's
So good
so
segue. Go for it.
that's a good segue. There you
yeah.
go.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, I actually discovered Follow, and it's like the game where the people start with some prompts. So they start with the goal their characters need to achieve. They start with some a little bit of prompts for world building and stuff like that, and then they build the story together and they improvise it as they play. So that's basically what gave me the idea is that okay, it must be possible to just get together and in an hour or two, usually in a couple of hours, to just brainstorm an adventure together and. Uh, at some point, I just decided to try it out. My Discord server invited people. Said like, okay, so here's the idea: a group of GMs just get together in a voice chat, and for a couple of hours, we try to brainstorm an adventure. We try to create a story that we can later run for our players. And the dream is to be able to create the whole adventure in like 2 at most 3 hours.
Okay.
And I wanted it to be as interactive and fun as it is for role playing. And for the past couple of months, I'm realizing that it's actually working out. So now we have done it a bunch of times. I have tweaked the process, iterated on it a bunch of times. I designed a bunch of like a very simple process and templates for the adventures and rules and stuff like that. Like a bunch of tools that really help us to actually accomplish this.
Okay.
So so
I wanna know
recently, what?
more.
Yeah, it has.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, so especially what like last couple of weeks were really successful. So we for the first time we used the adventure prompts tool that I have created, which allows us to really come up with really unusual and interesting ideas as we begin our brainstorms. We just everybody just picks random prompts and we pitch a little 1 minute adventure idea based on these prompts, and we like create a list of these ideas and we pick our favorite ones and we build adventure based on that. So that's really helped out. I have created this adventure writing template, which is like a Google Docs, which everybody can open and edit at the same time, and it guides you through this process of creating an adventure. So you start with creating the first adventure idea. You figure out what goal your characters are going to pursue or what problem they're going to solve. You figure out where it takes place, the setting, the characters they will meet.
Okay.
You figure out like the key plot points that they will go through.
Okay.
Like the climax of the adventure, like some interesting twist in the middle, stuff like that. And we figure out encounters that the players will experience, and a bunch of other things and nuances.
Okay.
So that was really helpful, and that actually worked for quite a while. We were able to just brainstorm basic outline of an adventure for a while, and it was working really well, and it was really fun. But we were never able to actually complete an adventure and publish something like tangible. And I really wanted it to be something real that we can. Okay, so we had done the thing, we can publish it, and other people can run it for themselves, for their players. And like recently, I have figured out that it would be really awesome if we could try to create a simple, short, one-page adventure. I also created like a template that guides us through the writing process, and we have already done it a few times, and it really worked really well. So now we can. It's still challenging. It can be hard, and sometimes it takes longer than expected. But what we can do right now is to just go from nothing to an adventure idea, to an outline of an adventure, to a full, real, like published one-page adventure in a matter of hours. And it's really fun, and it makes me really happy. And like just today, we have finished a playtest of our adventure. So after we have done an adventure, we tried to play through it. And I'm really happy to say that this was really fun. We had a great time playing an adventure about dinosaurs and shamans and mammoths, and it was I've run it and it was so fun. Like it's really great because like it was really surprising to me that it's actually possible to improvise the whole thing and then do basically none of the other prep, so none of the difficult boring work, to just create something and run it for your players. And yeah, that's my thing. That's all.
Okay.
That's all I have about me.
So I have a lot of questions, right? I have a lot of questions. So my first question would be, I'm assuming there's no specific mechanics, right? I'm saying system that is tied to, right? You can play with any system that you want.
System agnostic.
System agnostic.
Exactly.
I don't want to get
that's
technical,
really,
but okay.
yes, that's literally what we are trying to do. So we are doing like light-hearted one-shot system agnostic adventures.
Okay.
The idea is that anybody can drop I want to create kind of stories that anybody can run as a one shot because that's something I'm into, something people can drop into their campaigns,
Hmm.
or yeah, basically these are two options. And in any system, ideally we are focusing on fantasy because that's just what most people are playing. But we will experiment with some sci-fi stuff as well.
So
But it will all be just story, no mechanics.
okay, so I was gonna ask that, right? Is it? I'm assuming because it's a template. Technically, it can be used for any type of genre and setting, right? That's what I'm assuming. Okay, so what happens? You create the thing, because what I'm looking at is I'm not saying it's I don't think it's a bad thing because for the people that like that kind of stuff, that's playing, right? You're still playing a game as you build this thing, but then you have to prep the other stuff which is for your system, like those encounters, those scenes, npcs, those type of things. You have to create something in your system of choice in order to do that. So if you spend it 1, 2, 3 hours, of creating that, then you have to spend another certain amount of time in order to create that for your characters. So what I'm thinking is, depending on the system, I think it's I don't think, like I said, I don't think it's a bad thing, but it's gonna be a lot of work for those systems that require a lot of prep time for their NPCs and all these things, because balance or whatever balance, those kinds of things.
Non-player facing systems will have a tough time adapting unassigned adventures, like adventures that were not made. When I say non-player facing, I'm basically saying anything that is not like PBTA or
Narrative. Let's go with narrative.
like narrative. Okay, thank you. Narrative systems.
Hmm.
But even then, I would argue Cortex is narrative, and you would still have to adapt and put dice
Yes.
pools on enemies and the combat. And I'm not
Yeah.
saying that's a
Yeah,
bad thing, but
Yeah.
it does it.
Not as long though. It's not
Uh,
as long to than other system. But yeah, I do get the point. Yeah, you
yeah,
still have to do
yeah,
some
yeah.
sort of prep, right? So
Right,
yeah,
I'm
that's
right, right.
so as an example, so I don't do a lot of prep. I don't. I
I
honestly, I
don't
just
either.
I just do initial thing, like something initial to get the characters going, and then I let them run wild, and then I improvise a lot of my session in order to uh, have them to let my players have a good time and let them play and interact with each other, interact with the environment, and then I throw some things at them just to get them nudged in a certain direction or in the right direction, whatever. And then so yeah, so I can see. So would you say that that template that you have, right? That template you create, would you say that it can be easily shortened or extended? Let's say I want to run like a 1 hour or 2 hour one shot instead of like a 3 or 4 hour one shot, right? Do you think that the process would be the same, or it would be less complicated, or more steps or more parts in the process? Do you understand the question? I don't know. I'm just
yeah. There's a lot to say. There's I guess a couple of questions there. So first of all, about the mechanics, you guys are absolutely correct. So for systems that have rules and mechanics and where you have to design encounters,
Mhm.
we are not doing any of that.
Yeah.
Uh, a part of it is just because, as I've said before, I'm very intensely bored by all the rules and mechanics, so I don't find it any interesting at all. Second of all, I think that creating a story and characters and compelling thing to tell to guide players through, that's the interesting, exciting, and challenging part. When it comes to mechanics, I think that first of all, obviously we cannot make mechanics because every system is different. Second of all, I imagine that people who like doing this kind of thing, like playing more rules heavy, combat heavy games. I think they probably enjoy creating stat blocks and probably will not find it that difficult. And also, I recommend to just I mean, after all, if you just want to design combat encounters, there are so many pre-made stat blocks for D&D, for example.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like
Mhm.
we have created a character idea, we have created a story, and if you want the character to fight your players, in
It's a
that
good
case,
way of fast tracking that. Like
Yeah,
just plug and play,
Yeah,
kinda.
you can, right? You can pick from a certain book and say, hey, I'm gonna make adventures about. So a lot of people do that. A lot of people look at least for D&D, Pathfinder, those type of games. And sometimes I do it for other narrative games. I look at a like um like a bestiary or something like NPC book or something, and I look, ooh, I like that bad guy. Let me read the background of that bad guy, and let me see, and then I make the adventure one shot based on that NPC, and then everything else I kind of take from others. Hey, I'll use this one, and then I'll use this one, and I'll use this one, right? Again, I tailor it to my system, so it's kind of it's like a different way of doing it, right? I get the NPCs and then I build the adventure, right? So but yeah, but
I have
yeah.
a
Basically,
question.
you just. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. No, no, finish your thought because I'm going on a second thought. So go for
Yeah,
it.
yeah, I just have a bunch of thoughts at the moment. So first of all, yeah, I absolutely agree. So you just pick any random table and a stat block, and you just adapt it to whatever you want. Another thing I want to say is that there's a benefit to making things system agnostic, in that, like, when like, sometimes I post the adventure on Reddit and people are like, oh wow, this is a great story, but what about, like, what level is it, like
Ah,
what level
yeah.
my characters might
yep,
be.
yep,
Like,
yep.
will it work for my fifth level adventure? Will it
Oh,
work for 10th level
you
adventure?
make it the level you want it to be. You do that.
Exactly. Exactly. The answer is always, yeah. Want to run it for the first level players? No problem. Just change the numbers, and
Yep.
it works great.
And
Second of all,
and I
second of
think that,
all,
just to sorry to interrupt there, and I think that's what I was getting to, like, you build the adventure, but then they have to spend this extra time to do this, which is not wrong. If they're playing that game, they like to do those kinds of things, right? That's
yeah.
the thing.
Unless they just don't know any better because they
that's what I was
haven't
gonna say. That's what I was saying.
experienced.
Assuming they,
Because that was me with
yes,
Pathfinder. I didn't know any better. Well, okay, any better. I didn't know that there were other systems out there, so I would trudge through and I would balance these
then
encounters and I would hate every
yeah,
millisecond of it. And then I would run the game and then get mad whenever my players didn't go through these painstakingly created balanced encounters because they're like, oh, I don't want to go in the rooms in the dungeon. I just want to
you
go
will
straight
go into that
through.
room.
I'm
You
like,
will
no,
go.
you will, because now I'm gonna railroad the crap out of you. That was back in my younger days,
Yes, and
just a
then
mere 2 years ago.
I opened her eyes
You
with
gotta have fun, or else.
Exactly.
and then
Oh, look, the NPC you're protecting has run off to that room. What do you do? I did that.
Savi, you had a question?
yeah. So what
I
was the question? Yeah.
did. My question, does the like does your system for making adventure modules incorporate like random tables? Because I've seen it done that way, is like you just
I've
given
used
a
it.
list of random tables
I've used
and you
those.
roll like so many dice and then it like makes the adventure for you.
Mhm.
Well, that's where the adventure prompts tool that comes in. I think that for the most part, I don't find the adventure tables very useful, because they're either too generic or they're to try to fit into your story. So mostly it's just people talking to each other and improvising a story. Everybody has a whole library of movies and books in their heads already.
Have the
So
random table.
it's mostly just people bouncing ideas off of each other, and just always, like, whenever we get stuck at something, I can always just ask ask people, like, what do you think next should happen next? What what should be the name of the antagonist? What kind of challenge will players encounter at this location? And everybody, always, people have no problem coming up with ideas. I also got lucky since well, I'm not very experienced GM, but I was very lucky because this community allows me to surround myself with, like, really really talented and creative and experienced people.
Yeah.
So always, usually it's just super easy to just everybody in a group of 4 people, somebody will have a good idea. But when
So
it comes to random tables, this adventure prompts tool is what helps us to get started, and that's basically what that is.
so it just keeps you focused, right? Instead of the being random, it keeps you focused. So I would do that. Actually gives me to another question. So what happens if you're going you make the entire thing, right? I'm assuming. I mean, you can talk to about this when you answer the question. You can talk a little bit about like a little bit the structure of what the document is, right? What the outline is. Let's say your characters or your PCs, your players are going through something, but you know that the players will always do something that is not that you have not prepped for, right? So is your game for creating these adventures, does it take that into account, right, or not?
Absolutely, that's actually another like idea that I'm really really proud of. Have you guys heard about so-called modular adventure preparation?
No.
I know what all those three words are. I just don't know what they mean in that exact order.
All
Yeah,
together,
All
yeah.
together, yeah.
yeah. And unfortunately, at this point, I'm blacking out on who invented this idea, so I cannot give the credit. I can probably send you links later
Somebody,
to the
don't worry,
to
somebody in the chat on
the
Twitch will let us know who did that because they're
yeah,
searching
it's
right now, probably.
Modular adventure preparation.
There you
yeah,
go.
yeah, yeah, it's either modular adventures or node-based adventure. It's like there are two different very good articles based on that. So here's the idea. When you're preparing the adventure, you instead of just writing out the whole outline of the story, exactly what's going to happen, you just prepare different parts of the adventure. You figure out what locations the players will visit, what well, yeah, like the setting, the adventure, the world around the players, right? Then you
Mhm.
figure out the NPCs, the characters they will meet. You will figure out the encounters that they will encounter, and the like sometimes they call it clues and secrets. So the
Mhm.
things that will guide players through the adventure, that will help them to figure out what's going on. And
Okay.
you create these things separately, modularly. So for example, if your characters if your players decide to go into a different direction, they can just meet the same NPC in a different location.
Mhm.
Yeah, if they decide not to go investigate this spooky attic and instead they want to go to just investigate somebody's office, they can find the clue there. So these are different separate parts of the adventure that are prepared separately, and then you can use these different modules to just. It really helps you to improvise things on the fly without locking people into a specific storyline.
I
Okay.
have
The,
heard a great tip is prepare situations, not like
Yeah,
locations.
prepare
Because
events. Yeah. Mhm. Yeah.
you can pick events up and put them wherever you want them to
I wonder who
go.
said that. I don't
So,
know.
like you said, so I don't know, but
I don't know
yeah,
who said that. I don't
yeah,
know.
that's the goal. One thing I should mention is that unfortunately I still haven't figured out how to express it in a very accessible way. So we have these brainstorming templates that have all these elements of the adventure modularly, and
Mhm.
it's very very convenient. So we have a list of encounters players will see. We have a list of NPCs, list of settings, and it's really really useful and convenient for that kind of
Okay.
improvised adventure running. But when we are publishing adventures at this point, because I want it to be very self-contained, like really small, short one-page adventure that is very accessible and easy to for people to understand. These ideas are there, but they're expressed pretty linearly. So in
Okay.
a one-page adventure, we just tell the whole story, and we
Okay.
assume that a competent GM can just pull out these ideas
Yeah. So.
and improvise different paths through the adventure as they play.
Okay. So we do have a comment on the Twitch. Like, hey Bill, how's it going? Uh,
Bill.
yeah. So it says, I can't find who invented that modular design, so I'll just say it was Gygax. He invented everything. I like that. I like that. That's a
Yeah.
good answer. Okay. So I do have a question, right? So um, I'm gonna put you on the spot. Okay. Um, what makes your system, right? What this thing that you've created. So what makes this different than an actual published adventure? So what is it between? So why should I go play for 2 to 3 hours to create an adventure, right? Instead of me just going out and buying an adventure and then reading that and playing that, if you know what I mean, right?
I mean, absolutely. Well, to me personally, it's all about creativity and making my own thing because since
Okay.
I'm into writing and storytelling, I wanted to make my own thing. I wanted to make up my own ideas.
Okay.
Second of all, the reason I started trying to prepare the already existing ideas, but again, just like with the writing, just my brain for some reason just finds it so difficult and boring to get through. So even short one-page adventures, they can be as long as 50 pages, and there's a lot of lore and stats and
Yeah,
rules
you
and
gotta learn
trivia that
a lot of things. Yeah.
yeah
Hmm.
yeah, so it's like for me, reading through a like even 30-page adventure is so hard and boring that it's much easier to like have fun with creative people and make up a thing of my own. But obviously, for people who enjoy running pre-made adventures, like they don't need this. So it's just for people who like making stuff like that.
I liked it.
Right. It's
I
a
like.
game in and of itself. So
Yeah.
it's like if that's the game that you want to play, then that's what you want. But if you're not into that game, then of course you wouldn't play it.
Exactly.
Hey, I have to ask because somebody's gonna ask that question, right? They are going to ask. Yeah. So that actually gave me another question. But Savvy can ask one if she has one. Well, I think I've
I
remembered
have
what it
one.
was actually.
I'm just enjoying listening.
Oh, you just enjoy
I
listening with the cat? Of course, right? People can just
He's
look at
like being so sweet, which never happens. So I'm just
just
loving it.
enjoying it. You're just enjoying it right there. Okay, that's
Yes.
awesome. Okay, so I don't think we actually discussed what the actual name was of your system of that little outline thing. So what
Uh,
is it actually called? I don't think we actually
Yeah,
talked.
so our Discord server is called Adventure Writers Room. I think it's a good idea for me to send you some links so that you can
Yeah,
post
of
it in the
course.
description of the
Send
Yeah,
video.
me some
yeah,
links and then I will drop one in the chat right now.
yeah. You can
Regular
drop
Easy.
it.
users can't drop links
That's
because
fine.
spam, but I can
Yeah,
if
yeah,
you
yeah.
send it to me.
That's fine.
Let me
Send
see.
me send me an invite link that does not have.
So for those that are new, right?
Oh
This
no,
is
this works. Cool, cool,
for
cool.
for
Thank you.
for those that are new to our stream, right? We this is what we do. We don't write anything previous. We just, hey, this sounds cool. All right, put it in the chat, put it somewhere, and we don't have any like pre-planned questions. So this is all coming up organically as we talk about it. So yes, okay, all right. So that babble there actually gave me time to think about the question. So can you use your system to create, like, as you go through it, right? You're saying you create different things like locations and NPCs and all that stuff, right? That the players are going to interact with, right? Would you say that you can create the entire thing, but then you can divvy that up into different adventures, right? Instead of one adventure as a one shot, can you divvy that up into different one shot adventures to create a campaign, right?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I just realized that you have asked this before, and I just completely forgot about it because
Did I? I don't know. I remember.
yeah, about like one-shot adventures versus campaigns. It's a very
Okay.
good question. I'm happy to answer it. So when we are brainstorming these stories, we are aiming for a one-shot adventure because it's like a self-contained, straightforward story. It's easier to create, and it's a little bit personal. Like personally for me, it's like what I'm trying to do, and it's convenient to place them into any campaign and just run as a side quest or as a part of the adventure.
Okay.
But as we are brainstorming them, we often come up with ideas that do fit better for the campaign. So, for example, we came up with this idea about like mice living in a tavern's basement where they meet this evil cat familiar who is a familiar of a dark lord, and they go on this whole Lord of the Rings style adventure escapade where they go through the battlefields and through the forest to finally get to the Tower of the Dark Lord and to defeat him. Like that's definitely it would be a great campaign. It can be a long game or it can be a short one. So I think it's absolutely possible to run something like this um, as a short game, but it's also possible to take any of the scenes that we have created and turn it into a bunch of different separate adventures.
Okay.
So and as a like for example today I was running the playtest about the where people play and help the tribe of mammoth people to defeat the tribe of dinosaur people, and they go through the forest and they meet the tribe of ape
Okay.
people who are like capturing them, and they try to escape from them. Like each part of the adventure can absolutely be its own story. But I have also realized that as I'm running more improvised games, it's pretty easy to stretch it. Like I can make it short, 2 hours. I can easily extend it to
Yeah.
4 hours because it's just a matter of finding extra. You can add extra combat encounters. You can do more role playing. You can let players more role play between themselves. Like it's really easy. Like once you have a core structure of the story, think about it like as a TV show.
Hmm.
Like any like modern TV show, a season of a TV show can also be a movie, but it also can be a bunch of episodes,
Hmm.
and there can be also a bunch of seasons. So that's just as
Okay.
long as you have a story, you can do a lot of stuff with it.
So, and the reason my question was because you're gonna have people that are gonna look at your product and be like, okay, but this is a lot of work because I have to do this other prep, right? But if I can do this entire thing in one go, that way I can take this part and I only need to do prep for this one for like this week and then do prep for this other one like 2 weeks from now and then do so I can divvy them up and like hey maybe they're going from A to B but then all of a sudden something happens, hey maybe I can take C and put it in the middle and then eventually they'll get to B, if that makes any sense. So I think that was my initial question, right? If you can do separate things, or if they can just, hey, they're not gonna meet these people or these NPCs. Hey, maybe they're gonna meet these other people, right? And so my question, my follow-on question would be, now that you have, let's say you prepped your locations, NPCs, all these things, is there some point at the end where you mix them all up, or is as the players encounter you select, or do you mix them up beforehand? You know what I mean?
Yes, so basically at this point there are two stages. So first we are brainstorming a story. And at this point we do this modular adventure prep. And usually by the end of this brainstorming session, we have like an outline of adventure. Once we know
Okay.
the list of encounters, the list of scenes the players will play through, we are basically have an outline of a story. And
Okay.
usually it happens very organically. So as we are figuring out the settings, the problems, the antagonists, the challenges, it's all just usually we just fit it together and weave it into a story that like fits together and makes sense. And after that, we take this, as I said, the one-page adventure template, and that's where we are just writing the whole thing, like and putting it together into a story with descriptions and where it all fits together into a whole adventure.
Okay. Okay. I like it. I like it. Awesome. So I do have a question. Where the game that you ran with the mammoths and the dinosaurs and stuff? What system was that?
Yes, the system that's basically the system that I initially tried to design.
Mhm.
So it's I started with the idea is that okay, I would really like to make a system that's focused on improvisation and storytelling and role play and doesn't have any of the intricate rules. It would be basically like one-page system. And I
Okay.
have made the system about a year ago, and I have been tweaking and simplifying it for a while. And right now, at this point, it's so simple that it's barely a system. It's just a one-page set of guidelines of how to do a free-form role play. So
Okay.
if you think about it, mostly when it comes to like what do you need for a system if you are not doing really intricate board gamey combat encounters?
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
need
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
know you need to know who your characters are and what they can do. And so I have created like really simple set of rules where you choose your character's abilities, and there are some simple dice rolling rules which is basically if your character is good at this kind of thing, he rolls the dice with advantage. If he has several relevant abilities, he can roll multiple dice with advantage. It's I'm gonna post one more link in the chat right there.
Okay.
Uh, so basically, it's literally just one page of like one A4 page that
Yeah.
describes how to do freeform role playing, and that's what I'm really excited about right now because we have played it today and it's really working well. That's exactly
Okay.
what I wanted.
So it's
And before that, I had a bit of a more elaborate system. I called it Mirage, and
okay.
there were a bit more details and more rules for like more intricate things. But I
Okay.
really loved the simplicity of just storytelling and improvisation.
Okay. Awesome. Awesome. Yeah. So when you do the brainstorm, so normally it's divided. You say it's divided into two parts. You have where you're creating the locations, NPCs, and all that stuff, which is the brainstorm part, and then you have the adventure outline. So the brainstorm part, right? So how does that go about, right? Can you describe a certain, the little bit of the different parts that it takes to for that to happen, right?
Yes, it will be much easier if people can just open the brainstorming template that literally explains like every single step of brainstorming process. So
If
like in the links to the writers room, I'm just gonna also duplicate this link in the chat so that you can see the actual document I'm talking about.
okay.
And that's I have been tweaking this thing for a while. It's rather simple, but at the same time, it contains everything you need in order to successfully like create all the important elements for the adventure. So the first step is you come up with an adventure idea. It's like an exciting premise. Like in movies, they call it high concept, like interesting thing to tell the adventure about some really cool setting or really exciting villain to fight or really like interesting sci-fi magic concept like supernatural element to tell a story about. Just basically a core seed of the idea that makes you excited to play it. The second step is to figure out the goal our players are going to pursue or the problems they're going to try to solve, because that's what all of the plot is about. It's like the most important thing to know. Like
Yeah, yeah.
the way
What
I under,
what is
the
the
way
end game
I under,
of the adventure? Yeah.
hmm?
What is the end game of the adventure, right? What is the end goal of
Yeah,
the
yeah,
adventure?
exactly. So like the way I understand the stories is that stories are about problem solving. So once you know the problem the players are trying to solve, you also know the climactic final exciting end for the adventure, which is where they solve this problem.
Hmm.
And you also know like they will need to go through several steps and encounter a bunch of complications as they're trying to solve this problem. So that's like the most difficult and core things about the story to figure out. After
Okay.
that, it like once we have the core exciting premise and exciting goal for players to try to achieve, the rest usually it's pretty straightforward and falls into place. So next we are trying to figure out the interesting and exciting setting and locations that they are going to visit, because it's really good to have a little bit of world building to not just place a story in an engineering fantasy world, but to create a world that like unusual and exciting just places for players to be and to explore. After that, we figure out the important characters. That's the fourth step. So first of all, the most important character is of course the antagonist. So we figure out the like really cool villain, his personality, the personality powers, his evil plan if they have one. Like what do they want? Like their name, appearance, like personality, what do they do, what they are good at, stuff like that. We also figure out players like the NPC who gives them the quest giver.
Yeah,
We figure out the allies they will meet, the evil minions of the antagonists and stuff like that.
I'm looking at it right because you sent the link on Discord. I'm looking at it right now. My I do have a question. So have you ever read the Lacey Dungeon Master?
A lot of the ideas taken from them. Well, not all of them. Like at the very end of the template, there's a section for clues and secrets. That's definitely taken from the lazy
Yeah,
GM.
yeah, yeah. Because I see a little bit of his of that signature in there. Yeah, so
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
pretty cool. Is it
It's inspired, but
book? Yeah, just saying. Yeah. So
yeah. So the whole thing mostly inspired by node-based adventure design, by a lazy GM, and just by follow from Ben Robbins.
okay.
So these are three main inspirations, and also just screenwriting books like Robert McKee, like Sid Fields, and also like Save the Cat. There's a very great screenwriting book.
Yeah.
Uh, so all of this stuff, like I just try to synthesize all of these ideas and apply them to adventure design and make it as simple and straightforward as possible while also covering all the stuff that you need.
Okay.
I
So I
think
yeah. Go
it's
ahead.
it's very succinct. I'm looking at all your links and I'm looking through your adventures you've already written and I like it. I'm into it.
Too.
Yeah. So it's good. The step up that this has, I'm gonna say that. I'm gonna give you props for that. So the step up that this has over Lacey Dungeon Master and Ben Robbins stuff, and well, the one note I can't talk on it because I haven't read it, but it's because this makes what part it we like to throw this word out, right? Me Axio and Savvy. We like to throw this word out. We like to gamify things, right? And this is what you're doing, right? Lazy Dungeon Master,
Exactly.
you do the prep, right? That's still playing because you're technically still playing the game, but it's not gamified. It's like a writing process, right? Because I've used Lazy Dungeon Master, I still have it. But this, what you've done here, if you've made it into an actual game, where you go back and forth, it's still interaction because doing this by yourself is not really as fun as doing it with other people.
Yeah.
And
Have you guys?
and
Sorry.
and when you did it because you said, hey, you do this with other GMs, I think this is awesome, especially if you get like example me, Sav, and Axio, we do this. We're all GMs. Well, Axio needs to actually run a game to be a GM, but I talk crap about him. I love him. Yeah, he's a good friend. And I know him in real life too. So, all right. Anyway, the so let's say us three, we sit down, we actually do this, and we create an adventure, right? Let's say I run it in Cortex. Savvy runs in like PBTA in whatever PBTA game she decides to run this week, and let's say Axio runs this in Savage Worlds. Technically, it's the same adventure, but because we posted or we introduced different ideas, different prompts, it's gonna be an entirely different adventure for each of us. We still have the main goal. We still have the same location, same everything, but because we have different ideas on how to GM games, how to roll, how to play things, or how to run games, it's going to be a very different experience. Like for all three tables, even if we have the same players, right? Is a lot of things because we have different systems, we're different people, right? And we have different way of running. We have different GM styles. So I like this because it gamifies a lot of the prep and the building, and it actually makes me want to actually prep something. But that's just
Well, I want to be a part of one of these sessions and see
yeah.
how it
I might
goes.
do one in the future. I'm just saying that I think I might do one of these in the future. I don't know if I'll stream it though. I don't know if I'll actually stream it. No,
I'll
maybe.
stream everything. No
Or
worries.
I can actually do one, stream it, and then take input from the chat on Twitch,
That's
Ooh,
a
that's
great
clever.
and
idea.
then have them, hey, I'm gonna do this. What do you guys think about this? Blah blah, and then have them
It'll
back.
it'll just be Bill and Lynn.
Bill Lynn, and yeah, that's what we're gonna do. All there's gonna be, oh, you do this, you do this. I'm like, well, and I think that's a good idea. I think I might do that at some point. Yeah, so I'm gonna
Yeah.
save this. I'm gonna save a
Well,
copy
if you guys want, I will be happy to run a session for you. My schedule is super chaotic, but I would love to like try it out with you guys.
Yeah,
Think you will
We'll
enjoy
have
it.
to
that's fine.
figure it out with your time zone. The
Yeah, your
time zone differences.
time. Yeah, it's
Uh,
pretty late over
for
there,
me,
right?
yeah, for me it's 2:30 a.m. But
Yeah.
I have insomnia and my schedule is super chaotic, so it's really unpredictable. That's the only issue
So
with
it's
me is
like
that
so,
I
so
can.
it's like in the morning. It's like during the day for him right now. That's what I'm saying.
No, 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 no. It's
No,
2:30 in the
in
morning.
his inside.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah. And come
okay,
on,
okay.
it's 2 a.m. I know.
It's 8:30 for me p.m. and I
Yeah, it's 9:30 for me.
probably won't make it to 9:30.
Yeah, yeah. So we're almost done. So
Yeah,
if
we gotta
anybody in
wrap
the
this
chat
up.
has any questions about it, so basically what Lumen is doing is creating a brainstorm paper. And, he has his own system, but we wanted to talk about the brainstorming adventure building thing, which is where a bunch of GMs get together and actually create adventure storm for their players. That's what he did, and I think that's actually pretty cool. I might use it. I don't know if I'll stream it, but I'll definitely use it, and see how it goes, right? Because I want to try it out because I'm a no prep guy. Oh, very, 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 very low prep because we have to do some kind of prep, right? So very, very low prep GM, and I'll see how it goes, right? See if I can actually have some fun with this. I might not use it. I mean, I might do the session to build the adventure, but I might not even use the adventure or use certain things of the adventure. But just to have something ready, I think there's no harm in that, having something ready. So yeah, any
Yeah,
questions
no, it's a great idea.
yeah, any questions from the chat? By all means, Savi, do you have anything?
No, just that I'm very intrigued, and also I really like the layouts you got going on your website. I'm a
Thanks.
part of your server now.
Yeah, thanks.
Y'all go
Welcome.
join if you're into writing. And also the freeform role playing. I'm into that because it's basically
It's
what I run.
PBTA. It's PBTA without dice. Come on.
It no, it has dice. It's when you're
It
attempting
does, but
tasks
I'm
that are
saying like
difficult
I'm
or
saying
risky.
freeform as a thing is freeform, like it's literally without dice. You can't play without dice. That's what freeform is.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
sure, sure, sure.
but yeah, so I'm looking at the some of the adventures. They're actually pretty cool. I'm not. I'm
Yeah, I was looking at that Hogwarts one. I'm like, oh,
Yes, you will look
might
at that.
bring that in for year two of witchcraft and wizardry.
Oh god. So anything else, Savage? You have?
Nope.
Lumen, any parting thoughts? Where should people find you again, just in case people
Illuminating.
illuminating?
Ooh. Uh, yes, so I have sent you guys the links. If you could add them like in the
Oh yeah,
description
I'll
of
put it
YouTube
on the
video so that
yeah,
people can follow them.
definitely.
So there's a link to the adventures we have published. There's a link to how explaining the whole writing process in detail. A link to the freeform role-playing system, and link to the brainstorming template. And I think you can just click on them and see how it works. I put a lot of thoughts and energy into making it as concise and simple as I can make it.
Hmm.
And the dream is to make a thing that can guide anybody through the process of creating an adventure from scratch, even if a person has no
Yeah,
experience, if they have never done it before. I want to make it as easy and accessible as possible.
yeah.
So
I think this is good for new GMs. I think it'll
Yeah, totally.
give them an idea of where to start, how to be a GM. Okay, what are the main things that I need when I'm running and creating an adventure for my players, right? I think that's really good. Oh, for your GM thing,
Ooh,
right, Savvy? You're gonna. Well,
yeah,
actually, well,
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
So that brings me on to the fact that I want to run a GM workshop
Mhm. Mhm.
for people so that we could get more than two people, two or three people, running games in the server. Because I have a handful of people who are like, I want to run games, but I don't know where to start. So we might be able to collaborate on some stuff.
Yeah.
I say I want to do this, and I do, but oh my goodness, I'm tired. But I'll figure out a day and a time when I
Yeah, we'll figure
just
out. I think we have to work. We can actually do one of those in maybe in the future, like
isolate myself.
do one of those instead of doing like a normal episode of Table Talk, do like one of those GM workshop and have like the
Yeah.
GMs and stuff. And
See, and that's the thing is whenever I'm
Bill, stop
limited to
it.
Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays, it is really hard for me to
Yeah, Bill, stop it.
get
You're not
stuff.
new. Come on now. Saying
That's
new.
me.
Shh.
What?
Yeah. But so I think that's a good idea. I think this will be a good implementation for the GM workshop. So Lumen, we will talk more in the future about how to implement that. And
yeah, I'm happy to help to the degree that I can. Like I would love to
yeah,
participate in
anything.
this.
Awesome, awesome.
Yes, awesome.
Okay. So nothing else? No,
Yeah,
no.
I just want to say thank you guys so much for having me. It's been
Yeah,
really
of
fun. I had a
course.
lot of
Yes.
fun.
Yeah, it's good
Great,
having you.
Lumen.
Yeah,
Thank you for coming on.
yeah, of
I
course.
can't
We're gonna have
imagine if it was just me and Ghost.
Yeah, it'll be me because Savvy's like falling asleep over there. She's so tired.
I'm sorry, I'm like out of it. I even tried my charisma modifier and it's
Yeah.
not working.
Yeah,
So,
so and I think it's good that we have interviews now and then. I don't mind talking with people, uh, and just exposing people, like there's so many things out there, like with RP with the Fari.app. Everybody should check that out. Again, no affiliations with any of the games, with any
or books.
or books or writers or companies that we mentioned.
Or intellectual property.
Yeah, we're not affiliated with any of them. We don't want to get sued. We're doing this because we want to, because we love it, and it is one of the, if not the best hobby out there. So, and I think everybody should be a part of it, or at least, in some form or another.
Only if you're nice and you like it.
Yes.
Otherwise, go away.
Yeah.
We don't want you.
That's her charisma modifier showing right there. Oh my god.
Not
Okay.
nice people are not fun.
Yeah, that
Anyways.
is very true. We've had our share of not nice people in this, and
Bill, Mr. Millsbury Pillsbury.
Yep.
That was
Yeah.
from
By the way,
Fiasco. Anyways, go ahead, Lumen. What's up?
yeah. On that topic, I gotta say, so I have been running the server for about almost a year at this point.
Oh
okay.
wow.
Never met a single bad person. Seriously,
Oh yeah,
like
no, totally. It's
out of hundreds of people, not a single one. Like everybody is
no.
cool, everybody is chill.
I had to like there was a teensy bit of pushback with posting like
Mhm.
ads on Reddit or something for the server. They're like, oh
Yeah.
no, we're gonna get a bunch of and awful people, and that we've literally had to ban one person, and I've been here since August.
Yeah.
So,
Mhm.
and that's whenever the servers started taking a different turn. So yeah, no, I agree. Generally, people are good, I think.
Yeah, generally in these
So,
people, people in this hobby or that turn into this hobby, they're not inherently bad. I think. I think they are good or they mean well, right? They just some of them
yeah.
just don't know that
And they want to be here.
they want
Yeah.
to be here. They just don't know that what they're doing is wrong or it affects people in a certain way, right? So I think that's something that everybody, even including me, right? Everybody needs to be careful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think that's I'm gonna leave with that. I don't have anything else. Lumen, thank you very much for being a part of the show today, for stepping
Thank you,
in
guys.
when we needed somebody, and I
Being
appreciate
ready
Women
to
to the
go.
rescue.
Yes.
and I really really appreciate that. But yeah, so that's it for me, everybody. I'm gonna put this uh, in on YouTube at some point or another, and I'll put those
Baby.
there. Maybe I don't know. Yeah, there's a lot of shows that I gotta put on the YouTube.
So catch the first 3 sessions of Brindlewood Bay
Yeah, I'm gonna put them.
tomorrow when
Yeah,
he puts them on
sure, sure.
by this weekend.
By this weekend, I'll
Just
do it
kidding.
by this weekend. I can do
Okay.
that. I
Thank
can
you.
do that. Yeah.
Thank you. That would be perfect. Thanks. I
Yeah, so I'll put
appreciate it.
probably one Friday, and then all the other ones gonna be like released Saturday and Sunday, so that way.
And just a shout out. Tuesday we will not be doing Brindlewood Bay. We will be starting Monster of the Week. And
Oh,
then
what?
because Monster of the Week is going to be our filler game. And so when we are missing a person, we don't want to do Brindlewood Bay without everyone. So we're gonna use Monster of the Week as a filler.
That's fine.
So catch us for Monster of the Week, and then hopefully Brindlewood Bay will start up the
Who's
following
gonna run it? Who's gonna
Tuesday.
run Monster of the Week?
Oh, me. I'm not gonna play. Ew. I only want to run games.
Well, you just want to sit there and let them talk and do the thing. That's what you want to do.
Yes, that's what I want.
So you're not actually running anything. You're directing something. You're like just
Exactly. I am a
let them do
director.
yeah, just let them do the thing, and then they can yeah, that's fine. Um, I like to play it on
Anyways,
my gym style. I like to play it, but that's just me. Anyway, all right. So thank you for visiting again. Thank you everybody in the chat for being there. Awesome. Shout out to everybody in the chat.
Thanks.
And yeah, so we'll see you next week. I'm gonna see if this weekend I can try to stream something. I've been saying that for the past like 3 weeks or 4 weeks that I should stream.
Diary of a Vampire. Stream
No,
that.
no, I'm not gonna stream that.
I will.
I will stream some of my Cortex things that I got working on with my Cortex game. So yeah, I'll do that. And yeah, that's it. All right, so everybody,
Sounds good.
thank you for
Signing off.
signing.
Cheers.
Yes, signing off.
See ya.
Signing off. All right. Have a good night or good morning or good afternoon, whatever you are in the world. And bye bye.
Bye.
Cheers.